it was a doctor, and it was a rank 20 doctor.
A brand new
What?
player.
What? MMR, we good? All
All
right.
right. I'm just going to go ahead and call it right there. Yo, thanks everyone for watching this YouTube video. Catch me next time. Hey everyone, what's going on? Rob from Captain Rob Games here. And as the title might suggest, today we are going to be discussing the Survivor MMR. For those of you that don't know, Behavior was testing a new MMR system for both Survivor and Killers in Dead by Daylight. And I wanted to go ahead and get in about 10 Survivor games to see what the game thought, how the game really played out, and see how it adjusted within those 10 games. Needless to say, it did not do fantastic, as I'm sure you could have guessed after that intro. But I will briefly go over the 10 games, how they went. Unfortunately, I guess the Dead by Daylight servers were having a lot of issues. There were a lot of forced disconnects where the person was not actually voluntarily disconnecting. One of my friends who I was playing with was forced disconnected twice. I was forced disconnected once. And over half of our games had at least one player disconnecting at times that didn't suggest that it was a voluntary disconnect. So lots of issues that made it difficult to test, but we still have most of the game results as well as the matchmaking. So let's get into it. Okay, game one. This one was a doozy. So this was an instant disconnect. We were not able to really test here, but as you can see, that's a 4, an 8, and an 8, all with perks. Some of us running fairly meta builds against a rank 20 doctor who has not only no blood points spent in it, but he's running overwhelming presence. Probably a completely new player, like literally brand new, against, well, me and my teammate play at rank 1 fairly frequently when we're actually pushing rank. Yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. This one was going to be basically a bully game. I'm kind of glad that someone got forced disconnected, because this was just going to be a very unfun game for that killer and probably discourage them from playing in the future. Game 2. Oh, guess what? We also had a forced disconnect at the very start of the game. We were going to be playing against a rank 2. So, 8 and a 4, but we had a 15 and a 16. So somehow we had teammates that were at lower ranks, and the killer that we were facing was at a significantly higher rank. I can't really explain that. My guess is that this person doesn't play Wraith a lot. He does not have his maxed out perks. He is running Tinkerer, which I don't really think that's a good perk on Wraith. Shadowborn also kind of like questionable, but some people like that perk. He did know to run Bone Clapper, so could have been a decent killer. Probably would have stomped us. Interesting how we get a rank 20, we don't get to play the game, and then we get a rank 2. Kind of a weird swing there, especially because our teammates got lower ranks, and we're running off-meta perks. So far, the first 2 games seem to contradict each other quite a bit as far as MMR goes. Game 3, we had 3 players of all who played at a extremely high level. 1 player who seemed to be newer to the game, and then the killer was very, very new to the game. As you can see, 3 of our players outscored the killer. This game was actually crazy. We had 2 for the people plays back to back at the end of the game trying to save that 4th survivor, but we couldn't do it. It was a new Billy. I mean, you can tell, but based on his perks, that he's new to the character. We ran a lot, and he was not having a good time, obviously. So, again, questionable matchmaking. If you put 3 really good survivors with a new survivor, that is not going to equal 1 new killer. That's going to be a very bad experience. He did manage to get that 1K, but again, this was a very, very bad matchup. I don't know why this guy was being put against players that are competent and running decent builds and know how to do stuff. Game 4. This was a doctor game. Again, we were fairly kind of outgunning him. Not so much in perks, but we did have a brand new part. We did have a strong med kit. We had decent, viable perks. He did get 1K, but it was endgame collapse 1K. I think it was his first hook of the game. He did not have a single hook before 5 generators were done. He didn't even down anyone before 5 generators were done, so he got no value out of his agitation, Starstruck, Pop Goes the Weasel build. Kind of unfortunate. He wanted to play some memes and stuff, but he ran into a group of competent survivors, and he couldn't really do anything. Again, this was a very, very, very bad matchmaking setup. He got 1 hook all game and just had to camp it. Unfortunate. Probably not fun for him. Game 5. This was our first actually competitive game of the night. We were on the game map, and we were against a Pyramid Head who was running a very, very strong build. He was running Corrupt Intervention, Ruin, Monitor Abuse, Infectious Fright, and he was also running the Maximum Range add-on. As you can see, we did manage to get 3 people out. So, again, even with this strong build and a decent player, we won pretty heavily because we had a really good group of survivors. He was decent. I think his perks probably have advanced him pretty far into the purples. He was a decent player though. He was a decent killer. Understood some things. Did make a couple critical mistakes to screw him over. But again, I don't know if that's like that. I would hope would be kind of the bottom end. Like he was definitely good enough to give a fight to me and the person I was playing with, but that would kind of be on the bottom end. So this was the first match that I actually felt was like fair matchmaking and that they tried to kind of balance it. This was the first competitive game. So we're already on game 5 before we have our first like competitive, remotely competitive game. The next game was against a Trickster. I mean, you can guess how that went. Again, really good players against a he was an okay player. He was decent. He understood some of the basics. He wasn't a bad player by any means. He's playing Trickster though. My personal belief is that certain killers, such as Trickster, should just have lower MMR by default because they're just very, very unviable. So, I mean, the outcome was as expected. He picked off the weak link and struggled immensely against 3 of the better players. Again, matchmaking, okay, I guess. The 18 never really stood a chance, but the killer also never really stood a chance at taking down 3 competent survivors with the Trickster. So, kind of a mixed bag here. Unfortunate. Noed did get him the kill, only the 3rd hook. So again, okay matchmaking, not great. If he had tunneled the Jake out, he actually could have possibly gotten a 2nd, maybe 3rd kill. Who knows? Maybe a 4K. Three survivors can be interesting, but he was playing Trickster. So matchmaking, again, I would prefer certain killers have a little more leniency. The next game, this one was again a really bad one. My friend was forcibly DC'd at the start of the game, but me and him basically ran this Wraith around for like 4 or 5 minutes. Well, my friend DC'd after about a minute or 2, but I ran the Wraith for about 4 or 5 minutes. He put me on a hook. He camped me for 90 seconds. I got pulled off the hook. I ran him for another probably 2 or 3 minutes. It was Fractured Cowshed in his defense, so tough map for a killer, but incredible mismatch. He was forced to face camp the first hooked survivor in a 1v3 game. That's a sign that the matchmaking is a problem. So, again, not a good matchmaking setup. This game actually was hands down the best player of the night. He legitimately gave us issues, but we had another forced DC. We lost a player who had no hooks. Sucks. Same guy got DC twice in a row. But very good killer. Very good killer. We did manage to still get 5 generators done. I think our friend DC'd after 3 generators were done, and we were able to kind of weasel our way through the rest of the game. I did escape to the exit gates. My 3rd friend, because we were playing with 3 at this point in time, he would have escaped had he played it a little bit better. But yeah, this was our first like very good killer of the night. Like mechanically sound, very smart, very, very good. Got me near the start of the game on a sort of stealth play. I have heard that Hillbilly does not interact well with the MMR system because if you use your chainsaw too much and too effectively, you will... It's messed up for him. The next game, again, Forced DC. I was the one that got Forced DC this time. Basically turned into a meme game. Couldn't see the ranks. Seemed like it was a okay trapper. Meme game, throw it out. Can't really evaluate it. And finally, 10, another instant DC. And after this, we were kind of tired of it. We had 5 games that were ruined by DCs. Maybe 6, I can't even remember. And we just got frustrated at that point and said it's not really worth it because we had 5 games that were straight DCs, 3 games that were just overt mismatches, 1 game that was like kind of competitive, and then 1 game that was very competitive. Yeah, so it's very tough to test when their servers are being sketchy and not not maintaining well. But based on what we can see so far, and based on what you can see from this game, this is a rank 20 brand new player. Again, it's just the MMR is very, very bad, and it's putting new killers against really, really, really good survivors, and it's putting not great survivors against really good killers. So I hope that over time this MMR system adjusts. I think it's going to be that players are going to have to play a bunch of games. People have been saying they've been playing up to 50 games on Hillbilly before the MMR kind of adjusts and kicks in. So I think for casual players, this MMR is just going to be wonky for the rest of time. So if you are a person that likes making clips on YouTube or Twitch, now is going to be a great time because you're going to be going against new players, and it's unfortunate. I feel bad. It's not great, but I really do hope that it gets a little bit better and they work on this a little bit more. But in its current state, this ain't it, Chief. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, you know the deal. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, yada, yada, yada. See you guys next time.